The story begins with Carter, our lead character, recalling his final memory of his wife and children playing outside with their dog. It was his final recollection before his little boy died, and because it was so traumatic for him, he was abandoned by his wife when he resorted to drinking to cope with the pain. The next scene focuses on Isabel, the 12-year-old girl, who is the other protagonist in this movie. While visiting Isabel's late parents at the cemetery, Isabel is accompanied by Roger, her aunt's partner. While strolling around the cemetery, she spots and captures a photo of the hitman named Sade who murdered 3 people in cold blood while they were being buried. When Isabel silently returns to Roger's car, she is unable to find him. Sade hears Roger's voice from a distance while cleaning up after his murders as Roger looks for Isabel at the graveyard. When Isabel comes to the cemetery to warn Roger, she witnesses Sade shooting Roger in the head. Isabel runs as Sade pursues her to murder her since he notices Isabel's camera and wants to ensure there are no witnesses to his murders. Carter was soberly writing a suicide letter for his wife when he heard someone outside pleading for help. He opens the door and discovers Isabel in a state of fear, pleading with him to help her. As he is calming her down, he is shot in the foot by the hitman, so they both go inside Carter's house and onto the second floor. Carter draws his single-barrel shotgun and fires at Sade, striking him square in the stomach. Sade attempts to shoot at Carter, but is obstructed by the furniture. He discovers that Carter is only using a 20-gauge shotgun for hunting animals. Carter assertively cautions Sade that he can still cause him harm and that he has already notified the cops, ordering him to leave while there is still time. Sade also realizes that his threat is meaningless because his ground floor landline service is disconnected. He also discovered Carter's cell phone on the table, so there was no way Carter could call the cops without walking outside. Sade tries to persuade Carter to give up Isabel in return for his life, because she saw his face and knows she can identify him. Carter resists, promising to safeguard Isabel as long as she remains in his house. They both engaged in a mind game. It was clear that neither of them would back down. Because they are both shot, they apply alcohol to their wounds and cauterize them with a heated knife. Carter takes a lot of painkillers, chewing them to reduce the pain level of his gunshot wound. He asks Isabel to bring in all of his light bulbs to ensure that he hears it if Sade attempts to walk upstairs. He then wrecks them all and throws them all over the staircase. Sade initially thought Carter was just a farmer, but then realizes he isn't. A talk between Carter and Isabel helps both of them to daze stress as Sade looks through Carter's boxes for items. He learns that Isabel was a picky eater, which is why her late parents got her the nickname Bird. He also learned that Isabel's parents died in a car accident. Though she didn't like it, she let Carter call her Bird as he slowly gained her trust that they were both in this together. With one bullet left in his single-barrel shotgun, he tells Bird not to worry because Sade is unaware. Bird also says she has captured a photo of Sade's face using her late parents' camera. Carter orders her to place the film inside the toilet tank to keep it safe. Sade interrupts their chat when he resumes his mental games. He attacks Carter by getting personal with him, believing that the wrapped boxes prove his family abandoned him. He also discovers that Carter was a soldier and shares that he was an ex-military as well. He then turns to encouraging him to surrender Bird again so he can still visit his family. As Sade says, they're both family men. Carter disagrees, claiming that he has the upper hand because Sade has a severe wound on his gut and that they have a film with his face in the water, which indicates it can withstand fire as Sade intends to burn the house down. Meanwhile, a young police officer was driving around the city when he noticed Roger's and another person's cars were unattended. He attempted to find clues on his own in order to demonstrate to his officers that he was competent as a police officer. Back at Carter's house, Carter attempts to sleep, but all he can think about is the tragedy that happened to his kid when he fell and hit his head on a rock. As a coping tactic, he instructs Bird to buy him some more alcohol. Sade pulls another mind game on him as he drinks, reading his suicide letter written for his wife, blaming himself for their son's death. Sade mocks him after learning that this encounter disrupted his intention to take his own life, and he employs psychological manipulation once more to convince him that he shouldn't let Bird derail his plan. Bird learns that Carter's son died and that his wife left him because of the depressing memories the place brings back, so she gives him a comforting hug and tells him she believes they'll get through this together. Bird also tells Carter about her father's famous words, "There is no quitting on me." Carter realizes that the power will go out at night, so Bird should climb out the window as quickly as possible because they will not be able to live with one bullet in his single-barrel shotgun. Because Sade is seriously injured, He tells her that she will outrun him. The young police officer knocks on the door while Bird climbs out the window. Sade shoots at him swiftly through the door and notices Bird going out the window. She returns safely inside before Sade had a chance to aim at her. Carter raises his weapon at Sade as he walks back to the house after hiding the police car. Sade doesn't look terrified because it took Carter a while to draw the gun, which could suggest he's almost out of ammunition and didn't want to waste them by missing from that distance. As a result, he takes out his own gun, leading Carter to run back inside. Sade then uses the young cop to escalate the psychological manipulation and persuade Bird to surrender in exchange for the young officer's life. He viciously strikes each of the officer's fingers, using a hammer so Carter can hear his agonizing moans. Sade, losing his temper and patience, gives him a count of 3 to make his decision. Carter challenges him to shoot and uses deceptive language to terrify him, but he is interrupted as Sade pulls his trigger, murdering the officer. When Sade stops speaking, Carter tries to locate him by pretending to surrender Bird to him, but there is still no response. Carter decided to take it gently down the stairs when he noticed Sade coming up the house barefoot. He tracked his steps and was able to shoot him in the feet. At this point, Sade was ready to burn the house down when he realized he had Carter's phone. The night has arrived, and the lights are about to go out. Carter then utilizes his deceptive words once more to force Sade to yield. He attacks him in the same way he attacked him. He attempts to persuade him to have some conscience, especially since he has a family of his own. Sade was unaffected since he was having fun murdering people. He employs the reverse cards because Carter also murders people as a result of their chosen career. Sade says that it's not personal and that Bird must die as part of his profession. A car rolled up to Carter's house a few moments later. It was Carter's wife. Sade contacted her on his phone, telling her that Carter had an emergency, prompting her to come to his house. The psychological manipulation resumes when he uses Carter's wife to force him to give up Bird. When Carter must choose between Bird and his wife, the pressure intensifies. He always wanted to do the right thing, so he gives this single-barrel shotgun to Bird and directs her to shoot Sade if he comes after her. Sade was counting down with a gun on his wife's head when he noticed that the one who came down was Carter, who had left his single-barrel shotgun. For the final time, he tries to persuade Sade to give up by going home to his family and letting them all go. Considering the fact that he hasn't seen his face yet, Sade becomes enraged, so he removes his disguise and shoots Carter in the legs. He then plays mental games with Bird, attempting to instill some conscience in her while he prepares to murder Carter and his wife. Bird walks down the stairs with a single-barrel shotgun aimed at Sade. Sade was surprised for a moment when the light flickered, allowing Carter to stab him many times in the neck with his knife. Sade was able to fire one last shot at Carter while doing so. Both of them go out, and the lights go out altogether. Carter's wife and Bird were able to escape the house. Bird chose to return for Carter while still holding the single-barrel shotgun. Sade is slumped in a corner, unable to stand. He challenges her to pull the trigger, and when she does, he realizes it is empty. He used all of his strength to point his gun at Bird, but he decided not to pull the trigger since it was pointless, and he wasn't the monster he thought he was. Bird attends to Carter, who is not displaying any signs of life. Bird had already connected with Carter, as if he were a father figure to her, therefore she sobs as she hopes he is still alive. Carter awakens after a few moments and is relieved to realize that Bird does not have her camera with her, indicating that she is no longer in as much suffering as she was due to her parents' deaths. Bird felt glad to find Carter alive and thankful for saving her life. Carter, remembering what Bird says as a famous remark her late father used to tell her, responds to Bird by adding, "There was no quitting on me." Carter's wife has returned to the house to care for Carter. The final scene implies that Bird and Carter become hopeful of creating a loving family with one another, defending and sacrificing for their families' lives. That's it for today's recap. Give this video a like and subscribe for more exciting movie recaps. See you next time.